Page 45, Praise to the Lord the Almighty. This is in the key of F major. It's got one flat, B flat, all the B's are flatted. 3/4 time. Let's talk about a few, I'd like to point out a few things. You're starting in the right hand. Got that dotted rhythm again. 1 and 2 and 3. Now, here, you're kind of fingering a C major scale. Look at at the beginning. It's from here, you're going to go all the way down to C. You're not going to use all the notes, but most of them, and you're going to finger a scale. Third finger on the E. See, that's the scale. We're just not using the B. Now we're in C position. Kind of cool. Let's skip down to the third line of the 1 chord to a 4 chord. I recommend on that 1 chord, the first measure of the third line, you finger that 1, 2, 4. The reason is because you're going to a 4 chord. The melody is the top note. We'd like to sort of connect it if we can and bring it out if you can. And then lift up at the end of the phrase. Just bring the thumb down. Then lift up and move down. Again, this is the fingering for a C major scale. We're not using the whole scale, but we're using part of it. Left hand at the first, it's just the chords, the 5/7 chord and the 1 chord. Second line, left hand gets melodies, so now it's got to be as loud as the first line was on its melody, because you're always bringing out the melody whether I say it or not. You're supposed to. And again, we're using the fingering for a C major scale here, but we're not using the B, so it's the thumb goes on the G, because that's the scale. Keep the right hand soft because the melody's in the left hand. Then in the third line, I suggest you keep it soft. Keep the left hand soft throughout the rest of the piece. And that's about it for the left hand to point out. There's a repeat at the bottom, so we're going to play it twice. Dynamic wise, they give you a loud at the beginning. This is a praising song. Yeah, you're loud. The third line down, they give you a crescendo. Well, don't start loud and crescendo. Come down a little bit at the beginning of the third line so you got room to crescendo. So if you're, I don't know how loud you're going to be. So at the third line, come down a little bit. And each one gets just a little louder, and that second measure is where you're headed. It's to here. And then stay there. And then you're still loud. So that's dynamics. You can do the phrasing. The rhythm's not a problem. I think we're good to go. The only thing left is the pedal. Again, you don't need the pedal on this piece. You can play it just fine without it, but they're including it, so let's talk about it. At the end of the first 2 lines, they're used for the chords, so it's done the same way. In fact, the last line is used for the chords. It's done the same way there too. You're going to push the notes down first and then the pedal. It's here. The first line. It's here. And then I'm going to play the notes in the next measure, and then I'm going to change the pedal. And then at the end of the line, I'm going to lift the pedal and the hands at the same time. So there's a little silence before I go on to the next phrase. Second line works exactly the same way. The last line, the last 4 measures, the third and fourth measure work the same way, and then a little silence, and then the amen works the same way too. It's exactly the same. It's cool. Now on the third line, the pedaling the first 2 measures. Again, I'm going to push the pedal down after I push the notes down in the first measure, the third line. And then I'm going to play the notes in the next measure and then change the pedal. And then I'm going to lift the pedal with the hands. So as it turns out, this is pedaled exactly the same way as all the other places. So and that's the pedal. So let's try this out slowly to double check the notes and the rhythms. We are going to repeat it one time. There's another verse at the bottom if you're singing it. Key word there is you are singing it, not me. I'm singing it. So the right hand is here to start. And the left hand is here to start. And the foot's on the pedal. We're ready to go. I'll give us 3 counts. 1, ready, go. 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 2. 2, 3. 2, 3. 2. Repeat. 2. 3, 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3, hold, 2, 3, off.